right, hello folks, welcome. Awesome, welcome. Thank you all for joining. I'm gonna give it just a minute or so for everybody to make it in from the waiting room. We've got a great group of students and members of the honors program who are going to be sharing with all of you tonight. If you want, feel free to use the chat section to share where you're calling in from today. It's always great to see all the places that we have represented. So feel free to do that. Increasing.
I saw Houston go by there. New Orleans?
I didn't tally up all the states that are represented, but it's most of them who registered for this. That's awesome. Thank you guys. Keep sending those in. I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself and kick us off here. Keep sharing in the chat. My name is Aaron Danowski. I'm a senior admission counselor here at Gonzaga University. I also help run the admissions process for our honors program. And in addition to that, I was also an honors student back in the day when I was enrolled here at Gonzaga. Along with me, I have several folks who are going to be sharing with you for this presentation, Gonzaga University Honors Program, Benefits and How to Apply. I'm going to have them introduce themselves here. We'll start off with my colleague, Carrie.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Carrie Weeks. I use she, her pronouns. I am an Associate Director of Admission here at Gonzaga. I'm a former honors coordinator. I just saw Minneapolis, St. Paul go by in the places where people are from. That's great. I coordinate and work with students in that area, and I have several other areas around the country and also coordinate some of our publications for the office. So happy to be with you tonight. I'm going to be in the Q&A, which is where we're going to ask you to put your questions so that we can make sure to organize those and ask questions of the appropriate people. So when you have questions, please type them into the Q&A and I will respond to those, or just we will hold them for the Q&A at the very end. And I'll be putting in the chat some links for you as well as we go through the presentation. Thanks for being here. And I'll turn it over to Dr. Linda Tredennick.
Hi, I'm Dr. Linda Tredennick. Most students call me Dr. T because Tredennick's a bear. I am the director of the Gonzaga Honors Program. I have been for a little over 6 years now. I've been teaching honors classes here at Gonzaga since about 2005, which is longer than I'd like to admit. I actually remember having Aaron as a student many years ago in an honors class. So it's wonderful to be working with him again in this capacity. I also teach the honors first year seminar, which all incoming students, honors students take together. And I'll be the one that sort of is coordinating things about your schedule, helping navigate study abroad, coordinating with your major. So I'm someone that you're likely to be working with as you move through the honors program. And I will hand it off to my amazing associate director, Karen.
Hi, I'm Karen Petruska. I am a faculty member in communication studies, but I'm also associate director for honors. I teach in our first year curriculum, which is a class that is co-taught, but between someone in communication studies and someone in the English department. We have 4 sections of that. So some students are in my class and some students are not. But I show up at the social events and things like that so that I can try to get to know everyone in honors if I can.
Wonderful. All right. What we're going to do, students, is we're going to go ahead and get started with our presentation. We have some awesome students in the honors program who will be introducing themselves later and who will be answering some of your questions. But to kick this off, I'm going to turn it over to Linda to begin talking about the honors program overall. And just a reminder, if you have questions as we walk through this, please post those in the Q&A section in your screen below. So Linda, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Aaron. The honors program is first and foremost, it's a community of students who care about their education, care about it themselves and each other, and care about the world around them. So we absolutely promote academic excellence, but we also promote an active commitment to social justice. A lot of honors courses have a service commitment out in Spokane. We have a commitment to global awareness and engagement. So not only do honors courses often come with a global studies designation, but also we just piloted this year a new program pairing first-year honor students with international students as a way of developing global awareness and intercultural competency. And that's been a lot of fun to hear about. Students have been going to block parties together. They've been cooking together. Apparently, a group of honor students took a group of international students to Froyo recently and then had to explain the concept of frozen yogurt to students from China, which I think is marvelous. Another thing that is really central to the honors community is interdisciplinary approaches to contemporary questions. We recognize that the world is facing some really, really big, thorny problems, everything from foreign policy to climate issues to homelessness and wealth inequality. And these are things that we care deeply about, but also recognize that no one can solve on their own. No one discipline has the answer to any of these. So what we seek to do in our honors classes is bring faculty and students from across campus together to explore these complicated issues in a way that really is nuanced, but also empowering to help us see how we move from a sense of how large these issues are to working on solving them. But I really do think the secret sauce of honors, if you will, is the community. We have students from every major and every school at Gonzaga talking together, taking classes together, students that are coming in with different skill sets, different strengths, different perspectives, different backgrounds, but talking together, working together, living together if you choose to live in our LLC, having social events together. And it is one of the great joys of directing the program when I can see a business major talking with a poet, talking with an environmental studies major about what they did last weekend, but also what they want to do out in the world and how they can work together. And that I think that ability to talk across different perspectives, but with respect, with generosity, with an eye towards learning from each other, it just feels really productive and really special. And it's why I feel really good about being able to say that honors is a community of students and scholars all exploring and learning together. Does that cover about what you need me to cover? Okay, you want to go through the
Yeah, that's perfect. Let's talk a little bit about the size of the program and what it looks like to walk through it.
Absolutely. So the program, we take roughly 80 students every year, which means that we have a little over 300 students in the program at any given moment. At its heart, the honors program is an academic program that is a pathway through the Gonzaga core. So a lot of the classes that you take with honors classes, as honors classes, are also classes that you would be taking as part of your liberal arts core tradition. We begin the honors experience once you've been accepted into the program with a 3-day immersion experience that happens right before the main Gonzaga weekend of welcome. And this is just so much fun. So the students, all the first year students gather on campus, mostly before any other students are here. And then we eat together. You get to meet upper division honors students. We play games. There are tours of the campus. We get out into Spokane itself and do street art tours and explorations and really get a sense of what it means to be a Gonzaga honors student, what it means to be a ZAG, what are some of the resources and opportunities available to you as you start your college experience. After that 3-day immersion experience, you'll have your week of welcome with all of the first year Gonzaga students. And then you'll start your classes. And we have a wonderful first year experience. It's a really intensive sort of plunge into liberal arts education. All honors students take 3 classes together. It's our first year seminar. The honors communication, multimodal communication class that Karen was mentioning, that is team taught between communications and English, and honors reasoning. So you get a chance to take classes with a number of faculty, and you're all taking classes together. So you really have that shared intellectual experience. And we at the faculty level coordinate our classes so that the ideas from one class translate into another class, and you can start to really build a robust experience with each other and as you move into being college students. So after you finish that first semester, I should say one of the real benefits of being in honors is that first semester, even though you're taking 9 credits of honors classes, you're actually taking care of even more of your core requirements. So those classes satisfy first year writing, first year communication, first year philosophy, our first year seminar class, a social justice class, and a social behavioral science class. So you get a lot of bang for your buck in terms of requirements. And then you move on to fulfilling your honors designated classes. So honors designated classes are not classes that are particularly difficult, but they are classes that we have identified across the university that give you that distinctive honors education. So there's some part of that class that lets you contribute your own understanding and your own knowledge back to the content of the class. And there's usually something that's just kind of cool about them. So I'll give you an example. We have an honors designated class in our that comes out of religious studies that satisfies a core requirement, but it's a class on the ancient Near East, the culture and the time period that produced the New Testament. And it's a time period in a culture that has a whole lot of religious variation, controversy, arguments. And it's all fascinating to learn about. What makes it an honors class is at the same time, you're learning how to code VR. So at the end of the class, you are creating a virtual reality conversation with someone from that ancient Near East culture. So you're able to make a direct connection between what might seem like literally ancient history, but also your own life, your own spiritual world, and you're able to communicate that experience out to everyone else in the class. And it's really cool. So just to be clear, when you're taking an honors designated class, it's not all honors students. You're taking it with other students in the university, and you're not treated differently. This isn't a model where, oh, you get honors credit for it if you write an extra paper or you do extra work. These are just classes that we've curated because we think they give that distinctive honors experience. You'll also take 2 of our honors colloquia, and these are classes that are just with other honors students, but it's where we make good on that promise that we do interdisciplinary work on contemporary issues. So honors colloquia are almost always team taught. They're often taught by people from 2 different corners of campus, and they're always on some really pressing contemporary problem. So we have classes on climate change, we have a class on wealth inequality, we have a class on gender and justice, we have a class on the philosophy of technology, which has become really pressing now that we're all thinking deeply about what AI means. These are really exciting classes, and I think they are the backbone of the honors experience. They are classes that put our values right front and center because they're classes that are interdisciplinary. They help you become leaders for the world that you're inheriting. They're classes that are deeply, deeply student-centered, and classes that are really empowering. And then the last piece of our honors experience is your capstone. So at the end of your time at Gonzaga, you take 2 classes, our core integration seminar and then our capstone experience, that help set you up for synthesizing everything that you've experienced in the last 4 years at Gonzaga, your core classes, your honors classes, your major courses, service opportunities that you've had, study abroad, and what you want to do next after college, and find that sweet spot at the center of that synthesis where you find a project that you simply couldn't do 4 years earlier, but that feels really meaningful for you, who you are at that moment, but also who you might want to be in the future. Honors capstone experiences or honors capstone projects can take almost any form. They don't have to be a traditional academic paper. We've had a number of students lately doing videos and podcasts or designing syllabi to teach subjects that they care about. We've had students create oral history archives. So a really wide variety of types of projects. Thank you. We have some beautiful examples up there. One of my favorite projects from recent years was a young man in engineering who had been doing research on campus about the causes of building collapse. So his honors project, senior project, was to create a podcast of, I think he ended up with 5 episodes where he talked through the mechanics of how some really high profile buildings had collapsed in the last couple of years. It's a fascinating podcast. The thing I really like about this as a capstone experience is that one of his podcasts was on the collapse of the Ocean Shore condo in Florida. He ended up going on to interview with the company that had been tasked with researching that collapse for the insurance company. And so was able to translate the research he'd been able to do at Gonzaga with his honors communication skills and awareness and sense of context, and translate that really directly into a pretty impressive first job.
Thank you, Linda. I think next we're going to switch over to Karen to talk a little bit more about what the honors community looks like in practice and all the different elements that students get to interact with each other through. So Karen, let's switch over to you.
Sure, thank you. All right, we do a bunch of different things. We have some events that are student coordinated. We have some events that come out of the honors directors. So I'm going to try and talk about those kinds of different categories. But I think that especially for students who are looking to join our community for the first time, the Living Learning Community, we call this our LLC for honors, is one of the potential entry points for you into the honors community. We host our LLC in Dillon Hall. It is a residence hall that is suite style, which means I believe there are 6 people. So it's 2, 2, and 2 in a suite. And they have their own bathroom that the 6 share. And we have 2 different RAs in there. We have a faculty in residence who lives in the residence hall alongside the students. His name is Hayes Whitlatch, and he likes to make cookies for the students. He's a faculty member in math. And we now have also peer mentors. So peer mentors are fellow students who have done the first year seminar, and they actually help out in sort of an academic sense in the first year seminar, but also in other ways. They're also kind of there to really just guide you as more advanced honor students in the variety of things that you encounter as first year students. So the LLC is a pretty robust space for us. Entering honor students do not have to live in our LLC. There are other LLCs that you are welcome to look at. And some people choose not to live in an LLC at all. So there's lots of choices there, but we do have a large group of students that elect to live with the other honors students. And it's a pretty terrific way to really get to know some people and build that community. So with the directors plan a couple of key events. We organized that pre-orientation that Linda was talking about, and that is for our entering students. We organize a fall retreat where we go to camp. We go to a place called Luther Haven in Idaho, and students go in the lake and they can do boating and various kinds of things. And we mostly just take over the camp and have a great time together. We host an annual holiday party, which these are great opportunities for social life, but also it's a great chance for first years to meet more advanced honors students. It's one of those spaces where everybody gets together. We have some sort of a spring event. Last year it was roller skating. So we are, you know, constantly trying to think about what will stressed out students in spring who are getting closer to finals, what will help them release all of that pressure and worry and just have a good time. And then as it says here, we have a special event for our seniors, and our seniors do host or they have presentations about their projects, their capstone projects, and all honor students are invited to come and learn from them and also sort of preview what's upcoming for them. And we have a dinner attached to that for the seniors. So we have great events when you come in, and we have great events when you're getting ready to leave us as well. We have an honors council. We have some representatives of the honors council here that will introduce themselves later, but the honors council is students in honors who try to plan fun events from the student perspective. They do something called the 60-second lecture, where they invite faculty. They only get 60 seconds. Faculty members like to talk. They give them 60 seconds to speak to a theme based on their disciplinary expertise. So that's kind of fun because you watch faculty members really sweat under that 60-second time limit. But then after each person does the presentation, the students go and mingle, and they go table to table and can ask questions and just learn more from different faculty members. So it's another way to get to know kind of faculty members and honors. They also, one of our newer traditions is for the Honors Council to host a dance. So kind of honors prom. And that's we've been doing that for a couple of years now, and it's terrific, and students get a chance to get dressed up, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, we have one other event which is actually happening this week. This is something that our peer mentors have organized for us this year. It's called the Big Little Dinner. And when students enter honors, they become littles, and we upper level honor students volunteer to be a big for a little. Sometimes it's because they share a major, sometimes they're from the same town, and sometimes they just get paired up. But it's another way for entering honor students to get to know those students who have been here longer than them, to build those connections, to have someone to ask which teachers are scary, that sort of thing. So we try to cover a lot of different ground so that students get to know each other as entering first years, but also feel like they're part of this broader honors community, which includes all of our students, our faculty, our staff.
Thank you, Karen. I'm going to talk just for a moment about some of the key benefits of the honors program. This is speaking both from my personal experience in the program, as well as one of the folks in the admissions office who oftentimes get asked the questions as students are thinking about if they should apply or if it's something that they should be doing. So there's a few key things. As you heard from Linda, you know, there are some really phenomenal academic courses and opportunities that students have access to as honor students that you wouldn't have access to otherwise. For example, the first year coursework, as well as the colloquium classes. In addition, students are actually able to get an excess credit fee waiver. Here's what I would say. The average honor student tends to bite off more than they can chew and figure out how to deal with it as they go. And they also tend to have a lot of different interests. So one of the things that we try and do is say, okay, we want you to maximize your experience at Gonzaga. We're going to give you the option to be able to take not just 18 credits per semester, but maybe 21, maybe even 24 credits per semester for no extra cost. Students who are paying full tuition, at Gonzaga, or who are paying their tuition, I should say, are usually capped at taking 18 credits. But by bumping that up to 24 credits, that allows students to be able to add a minor, to double major, to study abroad in a different location. In my experience, I did a major in business and concentrated in sustainability. I minored in sociology, and I was also able to study abroad in Cameroon and Central Africa, looking at international development. I wouldn't have been able to do all three of those things in that 4-year window without, taking extra courses over the summer or extra money being paid, except for this excess credit fee waiver. Not all honor students have to use it, but it's there. You also have increased study abroad options. So in my case, Cameroon was not a place that students from Gonzaga typically go to. But I wanted to go to a French-speaking country. I wanted to be a little bit more off the beaten path. And so honor students are actually able to work with the study abroad office on non-sponsored programs that they want to have work for, transferring credits back and making sure that you're getting the most out of that experience. There are about 40 or 50 options that are already preloaded through the study abroad office that they encourage you to look at first before you go off and find something else. But honor students have extra flexibility around going and finding other things. Something that is like an underappreciated benefit is free printing. You are able to not have to go to the library and pay those, 30, cents for a printed, color piece of paper. It really adds up over the course of time with all those papers that you're writing. You also get additional advising support. I think Linda and Karen can speak a little bit more to this, and probably some of the students as well, about having an extra, you'll have an advisor in your academic area of interest. If you're interested in pre-med or, in law school, potentially, we also have a pre-health and pre-law advising tracks that support students, but honors advising is yet another layer of support that the advisor gets to know you really well. They support you in selecting which courses you are going to be taking, depending on what you want to major in. And then they're also able to direct you to more resources over time. So it's just an extra layer of folks being able to be in your corner. And then lastly, students in the honors program receive an $1,800 a year additional merit scholarship. That's guaranteed all 4 years. And that stacks on top of any merit aid and need-based aid that you may receive through the admission process overall. With that in mind, I am going to stop talking now and turn it over to our current honor students to just introduce themselves briefly and share a little bit about what they've enjoyed or what their experience has been like in the honors program. I'm going to turn it over to Grace first. If you wouldn't mind, just your name, what year you are in school, what you're studying, and then, just some of the things you enjoy about the honors program.
Awesome. Well, hi, my name is Grace. I am a senior in the honors program at Gonzaga. I am an international relations and French double major, and I have a minor in art history. And I'm also honors council president. So Michael Miles and I actually are all on the honors council together. And we love planning events for you guys. We are coming up on our 60-second lectures event now, and we already have our space booked for honors formal in the spring. So we're really excited for that. I think the thing that I appreciate most about the honors program, and especially about Gonzaga honors in particular, is that as an honors program, you can be a part of the honors community, but you don't have to be only with the honors community. Gonzaga honors definitely has a presence, and honor students have a presence on all of campus. I have plenty of friends who aren't in honors. I have plenty of friends who are in honors. And I think it gets rid of some of that sort of elitist honors mentality, as if honors is completely separate from the rest of the Gonzaga community. I love the Gonzaga community, but I also love my honors community, and I'm so glad that those two things can coexist. And yeah.
Perfect. Let's go over to Michael. And then when you're done, I'm going to have you popcorn over to somebody else. I can't see everybody on my screen, so we'll.
All right. Hi, I'm Michael. I use he, him pronouns. I'm from the Chicago suburbs, but I've found a great home at Gonzaga, especially with the honors program. One of my favorite things about the honors program is its flexibility. I have 2 majors. I'm an English and classics major, and I've been really lucky because honors has given me all the opportunities to complete my core and my honors required courses in ways that are totally beyond my English and classics classes. But also, I can take classes that interact with those. So it's really cool because Dr. T and Karen just give you so much support, and they push you to try out different things and all the classes that like you're thinking, oh, maybe I'd like that, or maybe it'd be a little tough. But they push you, and they really give you a chance to expand. The honors classes, you can tell there's a little difference, but it's not going to kill you. If you've made it this far, you'll do great in those classes, and they really prepare you to keep working in the university setting and to excel in your other classes as well. I'm a huge fan of the extra credits. I'm also I'm a musician. I play the drums, so I'm in 4 music credits. And being in the honors program lets me do all of that. And I can go to class, and then I can go to my ensembles, and there's no issue thanks to honors. I'm gonna popcorn to Inez.
Hi everyone, I'm Ines Marquez. I use she, her pronouns. I am from Columbus, Ohio, and I am an English major with minors in Latin American history and environmental studies. And I would have to say, I think what I really appreciate about the honors program is just the diversity of people that I've met here. Everyone just is so passionate about their different interests, which is really cool. And I think like a common misconception about honors is that, you know, you get in, everyone's obviously has like a goal of academic excellence, but there's also just so many people with so many different passions, and you just become friends with just people you just never would have thought you'd meet before, which is awesome. And I would have to say, as an athlete, I do also appreciate like the flexibility the honors gives me to really just sort of pursue my passions like in any way I see fit. And I really think, especially right now, I'm finding the sophomore colloquia, which is basically just this class that you can take. It's just really fascinating. It's about honors. It's an honors race, art in the Americas class. And yeah, just like the depth and the participation from the people in the class is just so exciting to see. And yeah, I'm just saying, I love being honors. We get a bad reputation as a nerd herd, but don't let that sway you. Everyone's really cool. And it's just definitely opened my eyes to a lot of different opportunities that I didn't know I'd have. So with that, I am going to popcorn over to Miles.
Hi everyone. I'm going to try and keep everything straight. I'm trying to remember all my points here. My name's Miles Mercer. I'm a sophomore in honors. I'm a computer science major with, I believe, a math and statistics minor. I kind of just pick those up as as the courses allow. And what else? Oh, I'm also on the honors council. That's been a really fun thing for me. I'm in the Bulldog band. That's a pretty fun experience. Not really related to honors, but certainly able to do with honors. And I also teach with the Math Learning Center, or I tutor with the Math Learning Center. So that's been kind of a recent thing I've been doing to kind of get back involved and sort of giving back to the university. And let's see, my favorite thing about honors, I would say, is the fact that it's kind of opened me up to allow me to explore a lot of my like peripheral interests to computer science and also tie them back into computer science. You've heard a little bit about philosophy of technology, the colloquia. That's something that I've been looking forward to taking. I've been in contact with the professor about. We've had some personal conversations about the course and its content, recent events. I really like philosophy a lot, which wasn't something I expected that I would enjoy coming into freshman year. But I'm in my 3rd semester here, taking my 3rd philosophy course. So, we'll see if that continues. But yeah, I would just say like, especially as someone who is in STEM and who kind of came into honors like, oh man, I got to take so many humanities classes now. I think it was just a really great opportunity for me to really expand my horizons academically, learn how to communicate about myself and different interests of mine that didn't have to do solely with technology, and to kind of just get involved with a community that was greater than STEM or just computer science or any subsection of fields. Anyway, I will popcorn to Logan.
All right. So my name is Logan Shimoleski. I'm a senior here at Gonzaga. But I took a little different route than the rest of these panelists. So I joined actually after my freshman year. I saw I got an email that was just sent out to everybody saying you can join after your freshman year. Here's the application. I applied and got in. So it's been good. I am also a double major. I'm majoring in applied math and economics. I would say my favorite part about honors is I really like the retreats. I like getting together with everybody, having fun, especially in the right when the year starts. It's still nice. The weather's all good, so that's always fun. And then I also really enjoy the just getting different or having different conversations that I wouldn't have if I just stuck to my majors classes. Just I'm also in that race and art in the Americas class, and so that class has really like pushed me to just discuss different works of art and different pieces of literature and how they intertwine and how race and identities interact with them. I think the last person is Isabella, so I'm gonna pass it off to her.
Okay, hi, I'm Bella. I'm from San Diego, California. I use she, her pronouns. I'm studying poli-sci and accounting with a minor in entrepreneurial leadership, which is through the Hogan program. And I think my favorite aspect of honors is both the support that I get from the directors as well as the honors faculty, but also how like challenged I feel by the courses. I think that's something that I was really looking forward to with the honors program, is just that like extra level of academic engagement and just challenge that comes from external sources like my professors, but also internal. And so that's definitely been the most rewarding part of honors for me.
Thank you all. We're going to come back to all these students. They'll be able to answer your questions. Be sure to keep posting things in the Q&A space if you want to hear from any of these students. But before we jump to the Q&A, I do just want to provide a little bit of an overview of what the application process looks like. So how to apply to the honors program. You apply to Gonzaga and the honors program separately. You apply to Gonzaga through the Common App. The honors application is available on our honors program website. So if you just look up Gonzaga Honors, some of you may have already looked at it, you can click apply now, and that will lead you to our application page. That opened up on September 25th, so it is available for you to view and even submit. It is due January 1st. So applying to Gonzaga, that deadline is December 1st. You have an extra month to be able to submit the honors application. And the honors application is based on a couple of different things. And I'm going to invite Linda and Karen and to jump in if there are any things that they want to add to this. But one of the most important elements that we put a lot of emphasis on is the honors portfolio. If you've gotten anything out of this presentation so far, I hope that you realize honor students are multifaceted. They're intellectually curious. They don't fit neatly into a box. They're not just an engineer. They're not just, interested in music. They're not just studying economics. They're looking to do everything. And that means that you tend to have done a lot of really interesting things. So we ask you, rather than having to write all that out in an essay, to submit an electronic portfolio. That can be a video, it can be a PowerPoint, it can be, I had students this last year who submitted like a 5-minute speech and debate kind of format prompt that they had put together, or they were the editor of their school's newspaper and they put together a spread on all of their different involvements and activities and things that they were proud of and op-eds that they'd written. There's a couple of examples on our website. So there's a video version, a written version, and a PowerPoint version, but we really encourage you to embrace the vagueness of the prompt. We want you to reflect who you are, what you hope to become, what matters to you, and ultimately what you think you will bring to the program. So we really enjoy seeing what students can come up with for that. But I always encourage students, make sure you're submitting something original. Even if you submit, pictures or written things that you've done in the past, that can be fine, but make sure that you supplement those with something specific to the Gonzaga Honors Program that describes why you're sending this in and what you care about for this. We also ask you to list up to, I believe, 8 activities. Describe your involvements, things that you've enjoyed doing. Inevitably, students ask a lot of questions about what GPA do I need to have? What test scores do I need to have? These are rough guidelines. We are not strict in terms of saying you need to have this floor of a GPA or this floor of a test score in order to be competitive for the program. Students this last year who were admitted to the honors program had between about a 3.6 and a 4.0 unweighted GPA. 25% were at or above the 4.0, and 25% were in that lower range there. Overall, this last year, we got around 500 applications to the program, and the admission rate is right around 50%. It is fairly selective. So we really will look at this, but it's not the only piece that we look at. Additionally, you're not required to submit a test score if you want to be considered for the honors program. If you don't submit it, we will just increase the weight we give to some of your activities, to your GPA. But, students who do submit a test score, it tends to be north of 1350 SAT or about 31, 32 ACT. But don't take that as an indication that submitting a test score is secretly what you ought to be doing. We really encourage you to make sure that you are putting forward your best foot. And if that means submitting a test, that's great. But if it doesn't include a test, that's okay too. Linda or Karen, anything you want to add about what we're looking for in the honors applications?
Absolutely. I really want to emphasize what Erin said about GPA, test scores, and also to some extent activities. I know there's a sense of what the honors student should look like. We have this expectation in our head of, okay, 4.0 ace to test, has a high school resume as long as your arm. And if that's who you are, that is fantastic. And there is a place for you here. But we also want to recognize that there are amazing ways to show your intellectual curiosity, to care about ideas, to have a passion that aren't going to end up translating to a GPA or, 8 million activities. We have tried really hard to create multiple pathways to succeed on your honors application. So if you have a passion for one thing, you have created a volunteer organization in your town, and that has been, you've poured your heart and soul into it. Maybe that means you don't have 18 other clubs that you belong to, and that's great. We want to celebrate that kind of commitment. Maybe you're someone who hasn't had a lot of opportunities to do extracurriculars because you've had really intense family commitments or you've needed to work. That is a really fascinating set of experiences and perspectives to bring to the program. So we encourage you to talk about that as well. We also are big believers that people are smart in different ways. And sometimes the ways people are smart does translate to GPA or test scores, and sometimes it simply does not. So we really rely heavily on that honors portfolio in order to understand how you see yourself and what you see as your strengths and your spark. So we want to encourage you, even if you think, I don't want to apply for this. I don't think I look like the traditional honors student. We want to encourage you to apply and put your best foot forward because we love the diversity. We love all of the different ways people are fascinating and curious and care about their world. And those are what we're really looking for in this portfolio, not a secret test score or a secret GPA amount. Karen, is there something you'd like to add in?
I think I'll just say we all tend to be pretty evangelical that Gonzaga is special, but we're special because of our mission. And I get pretty excited when students see that, when they want more than just the academics. They really want a community that cares about this world and wants to find the ways they can bring their own unique gifts and skills and interests to kind of help us all make this world better. And that's sort of a broad way to describe our mission. There's lots of ways that students orient themselves around it. But I think that's when I see that you really have thought about this place and really kind of feel like this is a match for you, we're excited by that.
last things before I hand it over to Carrie to moderate the Q&A. I always get asked if I don't get admitted to the honors program, does that affect my admission to Gonzaga? The answer is no. Those are considered separately. So you can apply to Gonzaga, apply to honors. Some may get into honors and Gonzaga. Some may get into Gonzaga, but not honors. Those are considered separate. So don't let that be a concern for applying to the honors program. And the only other thing I'd say is for the last 2 years, I've been hearing Linda and Karen talk about a student who submitted a claymation honors portfolio and they loved it. It was phenomenal. So I'm not issuing a challenge to anyone to make one like that, but that sort of creativity is definitely appreciated and may be remembered long into the future. With that,
it wasn't claymation. It was actually a Lego stop motion video.
Okay, even better.
Amazing.
That's awesome. All right. Carrie, are there questions in the Q&A or things that you want to pose to folks?
Oh, yes, there are many questions in the Q&A. So, all right. So let's start off with, we were just talking about the honors portfolio. There was a question about, in the honors portfolio, you write about the activities that you like to do and have done. Is that correct? Maybe someone can just give another explanation of options within the honors portfolio.
I can handle that. You will have an opportunity in your honors application to list all of your activities. So you do have that sort of traditional space to go through the things that you've done and that you really want us to know about. That means that you can hit some of the highlights of that in your portfolio if you would like to. But another option would be to use the portfolio to highlight one particular skill, one particular passion, or something that you think we should know about you that doesn't come across in that portfolio or in that list of your activities. Inez.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to say on that, I think it's also doesn't have to be things that like you necessarily like think that you're like really, really good at. It can just be things that you have a lot of passion for. Like for example, like I don't consider myself a writer, but one of the things I submitted was this poem I was like really proud of. So yeah, it can just sort of like really show just like the diversity of like what you're into and just like how genuinely you are into it. So yeah, it doesn't have to be like something that even necessarily has like any accolades or like acclaim. It could just be something that you personally care really deeply about.
That authenticity and that connection, that matters a lot.
Excellent, thank you. I'm going to combine a couple questions about nursing and honors now. So how does the honors program interface with the nursing program? And can I be part of the honors program as a nursing student? If so, what does an honors nursing student schedule look like? And are there study abroad opportunities that fit in that plan?
Karen, do you want to cover that or do you want me to?
With nursing, I'll start and you can clarify. We do have students who are part of what we would call high credit majors, and certainly nursing would be one of them. Nursing has lots of things that require students to like go out and be off campus. It's sort of like being an ed major. They often go into local schools. So certain majors, we appreciate that the high credit loads for those might make it seem prohibitive. So one thing, Dr. T, when she came in and started leading this program, really sat down and thought hard about this curriculum, and she streamlined a lot of things to make sure that honors didn't add a lot. So this common core that we have for all of the university, honors is basically right on top of that. So things you already need to do to, graduate from Gonzaga, you can do through honors courses. So that takes a lot of pressure off. So with nursing students, they do have a pretty tight, I've seen their 4-year plans. They do really lovely 4-year plans for those students, but they know when you're in honors, they put you into certain, like, this is when you're going to do your philosophy 201 and things like that. And so we try to work with you to make sure you can find honors designated courses so that you can keep on track. So with most of these high credit majors, we try to be in conversation with those majors as well. And it's part of why we have supplemental honors advising. So like you always have access to the honors directors We have somebody now who works in our academic advising office, who's staff at the university, whose job is advising, and those people are amazing experts across the university. So there's a lot of people you can go to, because we know that we need nurses desperately in this world. I'm glad some of you here want to do that, and we want to make sure you can do that and also be part of our community.
I would add to that that we actually have 2 specific honors classes for nursing majors. We have a research methods course that is honors designated and offered by nursing. That would be a required class. And also we always offer an honors designated version of the healthcare ethics class that's required for nurses. So that gives you a little extra breathing room. You'd be taking those classes anyway. And it's another way that honors is trying to make sure that it is being kind to our nursing students. In terms of study abroad, because nursing students do take a good deal of time off campus in their clinicals, getting hands-on education, it honestly can be slightly difficult to work in study abroad, but we've had students do pull that off with really amazing results. So I'm thinking about a nursing major a few years ago who ended up in Jordan during the Syrian war. She was working at a study abroad program that was not sponsored by Gonzaga, but she was able to use her financial aid package to go to this particular program. And it was sponsored by the World Health Organization. And not only did she get to continue to take nursing classes in Jordan, she also got hands-on experience working in a refugee camp with Syrian refugees, and particularly working in their reproductive health clinic. So she was able to go on to become a nurse who specializes in OBGYN issues and birthing. And she's really credits that experience studying abroad with finding that particular passion. So one of the ways that honors can help if you're a nursing major, there aren't a lot of great options through the Gonzaga sponsored study abroad that will give you nursing credits, but we can help you find some that are not on that sponsored list that will help you continue to make progress towards your degree.
Wonderful, thank you. All right, I've got a question for some of our students, please. Why did you choose to join the honors program instead of doing general enrollment?
Yeah, Miles.
Yeah, I think my interests in computer science and have always been interdisciplinary. I hadn't really written much of any code before coming to college, and so I had a real baseline in like building my interests around like very interdisciplinary like subjects. Before I came here, one of my like biggest projects I ever did in high school was some research I did on computational aesthetics. So, like, how are we using artificial intelligence to understand what makes art, like certain pieces of art, more appealing to certain people? And I was just doing effectively what would kind of amount to like prep work for AI research on that, but just feature engineering before I even came here. And so that already existed. I had had a lot of interest before this in looking, like really evaluating my political stances. And that was something I wanted to dive further into here. And I wasn't aware that philosophy was going to become a major interest of mine, but like I said, philosophy has been huge for me, both in the ways it relates to computer science and the ways it really doesn't. And just kind of getting to, grow a really mature understanding of that. And I've also gotten a lot better at communicating, which, luckily we do have a class for that. And so that's had major like positive impacts in school, outside of school. I've become just a better social communicator. So it was just sort of like before I came here, I had more interdisciplinary experience than I did disciplinary experience in computer science. And so it was cool to continue all of that in college and not really have to sacrifice any of my interests to continue a more formal for education.
Grace?
Something I really value about the Gonzaga honors program, or just being a part of the honors program within the Gonzaga community in particular, is that I'm not the kind of person who wants to bend over backwards trying to look for and obtain opportunities, unique opportunities within my college experience. And I really feel as if the Gonzaga honors program has been a big way that I have like siphoned off opportunities for myself that most students wouldn't have. So for example, my sophomore year, I was a Newman Scholar, which is essentially a TA position for the honors first year seminar. And I got to lead a discussion group, and that was a really valuable experience. Both teaching and learning from students and holding those discussions and being able to make relationships with younger students within the honors program. I also am in honors leadership and honors council leadership, which I can assure you is a lot less competitive than maybe GSBA and a lot less stressful than maybe like overall student body work is. But I still am able to have play a really big part in creating the honors program that I want to see and creating those events that I think I would have valued as an honors student, or that I do value as an honors student. I also had the opportunity this past year to attend the Association of Jesuit Colleges and Universities honors program conference in Los Angeles with Karen and one other honors student. And we really got to talk to other students and professors and directors from other honors programs and Jesuit universities all over the country. And I even got to give a 60-second lecture myself at that program. And it was a really unique experience and awesome to have on a resume that I've presented in front of a crowd of 100+ people. So I feel like the honors program, if you're looking to stand out without having to spend hours searching for opportunities or applying for things, the honors program really is here to give you those opportunities. They want, like Dr. T and Karen, they want you to apply for things. They want you to be an orientation leader. They want you to be in leadership. They want you to do unique things. And I think that I've had lots of experiences that I wouldn't have had if I had just been a Gonzaga student and not a Gonzaga honors student.
Excellent. Thank you so much. How about if some of you will talk about, is it difficult to manage being in the honors college on top of clubs and other activities?
I would say personally, I actually think it's pretty manageable if you kind of know like how to play your cards right. Obviously, if you take like the max amount of credits allowed via the honors program and you try to do a bunch of clubs, it's not going to really work out for you. You can't be everywhere at once. But I do think definitely if you know how to like allot your time and you take like a reasonable amount of credits, you can definitely do all sorts of things. Like I'm an honors student, and then I also have practice every day. I'm a rower, and then I'm also part of a few other different clubs and positions. And yeah, I definitely think it's very manageable. And I think especially something that's like really helpful is a lot of like your honors work is sort of like project based. So like you might not necessarily have like a huge test, but you'll definitely have projects you can like break up incrementally. And yeah, and I also think something that's like kind of helpful too is that like the stuff that you learn in the honors courses is like interesting. So it kind of keeps you motivated to stay on top of the coursework because the professors really care about it and you're like, oh, well, I want to care about it too. So yeah, I definitely think it's really manageable, especially if you develop like good time management skills and you're also, like I said, not taking like 24 credits.
I really second that. In my experience, taking the honors first year seminar has been so helpful with like learning about how to interact with the rest of Gonzaga, but also Spokane. That course will get you out in Spokane and you learn the streets, you learn how to get around on your own. Tomorrow I'm using the bus, like, because with our ZAG cards, we get free busing. It's really helpful. So since my freshman year, I've been writing for the school newspaper, and I now work in the University Writing Center, and all of like these jobs require working with off-campus people and knowing Spokane. And because of the honors program, I feel really comfortable doing that. There are a lot of times where I just will go out for a walk because I know where I'm going thanks to the honors program. It really does push your work ethic to be sharp with your work and to push your time management and really hone it in. So when you do need to work to get work done quickly and efficiently and well being the key one, the honors program really teaches you how to do that. And for me, when it comes to my classwork, I feel that the honors program has taught me like how to do my work in a meaningful way where I can space it out. Be like, I could do a shorter route for this, but I should do it more meaningfully. I should do the full assignment and go a little bit beyond. And I feel that the honors program has like given me the skills to balance that and see like, really, I need a little bit more time in my schedule here, or I can move this here and I know I can get this done there. So between the work ethic and just the knowledge of Spokane that the honors program gives you, I feel that I'm really living out this program in Spokane and on campus.
Excellent, thank you. There's a question, will some aspects of the honors program change if you are a running start student? And that, for those who are not in Washington State, that is a dual enrollment kind of program. So many of you might be coming in with some college credit. So if you could address that question, please, that would be great.
Absolutely. So I'll take that one since I deal a lot with enrollment issues. If you're coming in having done a full AA and are a transfer student or a running start equivalent of an AA, then we do adjust the overall number of credits, particularly in that honors designated, but also in the first year block, to make sure that you have time. You have the space that you need in your time at Gonzaga to get those requirements in and your major requirements. One of the nice things about honors as a sort of smaller subset of students at Gonzaga is that we really do have the opportunity to talk with you one-on-one, find out what you're doing, find out what you've done and what your goals are, and make adjustments to make sure that our plan matches up with what your needs are. So I'm meeting with students all the time to say, okay, well, let's find an equivalent that for this requirement that works better with your schedule. Let's see if there's a study abroad course that will transfer in as an honors course. So I'm making those kind of adjustments all the time. The other thing I want to say is that we've tried very hard to create a flexible schedule so that you never have to take a class just to fulfill an honors requirement that you've already fulfilled in a different way from a different institution coming in. So if you've already taken, say, an English literature course, you don't need to take a lit course for your core requirement. You also don't need to take an honors literature course. So we have a lot of flexibility in terms of what courses you're required to take and how they'll fulfill core requirements so that we're not forcing you to be repetitive about that.
Great, thank you. There's also a question, do you have to maintain a minimal GPA to remain in the honors program?
We do actually have a minimum GPA, but it's pretty flexible. So the expectation is that when you graduate, you will have a 3.3. We keep an eye on students' GPA, and if you drop below a 3, I think it's a 3.3, we'll let you know that we've noticed that that's happened. If it continues to happen for a second year, at that point, we're going to have a conversation about whether or not honors is the best place for you to continue. But it's really to make sure that we have that opportunity to have a conversation and make sure this is still working for you. We also have a requirement that you make sort of continual progress towards your honors requirement, that you're not taking the first year block and then don't take another honors course until the end of your senior year. But we do that again to make sure that you're meeting your own goals and matching your expectations. It's not a punitive thing, and it's not trying to create a competitive structure within the university.
Excellent, thank you. Do we normally accept AP credits for requirements?
So that's actually a question for admissions and not for honors. Admissions is responsible for doing all of that, but we absolutely accept every decision that admissions has made. So with that, I will actually turn it over to Aaron.
Yeah, I'll just say I'll post a link in the chat, or maybe Carrie will if she beats me to it. But in most cases, we will accept honor or AP credit if you have a 4 or higher on the AP exam. In some cases, it needs to be a 5 for some, depending on what your major is. But we have a rubric online that shows you which coursework will come over and as what. Same thing with IB, those need to be HL classes, and usually it's a 5 or higher on those exams, but those are in the same place as well.
Perfect. I'll get that link in the chat in just a minute. We have, just another one popped in for questions here. It seems to be that there's an opportunity to take more classes that might allow you to get a proficiency in a language class or take it as a minor. Is that true?
Yeah, Grace.
I am a French major along with my regular degree, and I was originally a French minor, and I think because of the flexibility of the program. So for languages in general, if you like, I took AP French in high school and I tested into the 4th semester French in college. So you can test in if you've already taken a language to a certain proficiency level in high school. You can test into a certain language, so you don't have to start back at the 101 level, which is obviously super helpful if you're trying to do credits. And the language programs are very pretty low credit for if you want to add a major or minor. I think it's 3 upper division credits for a minor and 6 for a major. And the honors program actually offers, I believe, some Spanish classes that are cross-listed or honors designated as well as a Spanish class. And I studied abroad 3 times, 2 semesters, or 2 summers and a semester. And Dr. T worked with me to make sure that I could also use French classes that I took abroad towards my honors designated credits in order to meet my major requirements. So I would absolutely say that you can totally pursue a language at Gonzaga and in the Gonzaga honors program.
Big thanks to Grace in the Q&A. That was awesome. Thank you. We have one more question, and this can really be for students as well as our faculty here. Can you talk more about how advising and mentorship works within the honors program? Are there more research opportunities? And one of the things that this person looks forward to is having a small community within a small community at Gonzaga.
Bella, can I ask you to take that since you're functioning as a peer mentor this year, and maybe start us off with your experience of that?
Yes, I can. As a peer mentor, I kind of serve in a way as a TA for the first year seminar, but more on like the same level as them. So as the first year, so kind of like a co-learner almost. And a lot of the students who are currently taking the class will come to me for help with their assignments, or if they're just struggling with a concept that Dr. T presented in the class and just want to kind of talk more about it on like a one-on-one basis. But then kind of outside of the academic region, I kind of just serve as kind of like a big sister for them to come and talk about problems they're having, if they need help just with like school life and like the transition from high school to college. So this is a new position, and I think it's really great for the freshmen to have a sophomore kind of as like a advisor for them in terms of like life and the transition.
So I think when we're talking about mentorship, we're talking really about 3 different things. We're talking about peer mentorship. So finding your students, your friends, your community in the program who can help guide you through, and particularly those upper class students who can help you sort of learn the ropes at Gonzaga. And I think honors is great about this. As Bella said, we have the peer mentors. Inez is working this year as a Newman Scholar, which means she is helping lead the first year seminar and doing discussion leading. Grace has done that in the past, which is another way that you can connect with upper class students. We have our Bigs Littles program that Karen mentioned. So everyone who comes in has one person in the program they know they can send an email to and get an answer, hopefully grab coffee, get lunch together. So we have a really robust peer mentoring set of networks. And then, of course, you'll find mentors in the program and in the faculty of Gonzaga at large. And that's something I think Gonzaga in general, and not just the honors program, does really well. We have a lot of opportunities to work with faculty, both in classes, but also, especially the STEM fields have a lot of research labs that you can work with, and those faculty become mentors. Logan, have you done some work in a research lab?
Not in a research lab, but I'm currently like helping my advisor with research. So I'm on a little research project, I guess, in the field of numerical methods. So just working on that. I mean, I think it's definitely, I don't know. I mean, there's definitely opportunities out there for research, and I think it definitely helped being an honors student in my advisor's eyes to get that. Like, she asked me to help her with her research, so just having that good reputation, I guess, from the honors program, that definitely helped me get started in that. And then, like, for this semester, my advisor's on sabbatical, so Dr. T and Karen had to help me at the beginning of the year. I had a whole bunch of stuff wrong with the degree evaluation and all that, but they're quick to answer my questions, answer my emails, and get everything sorted for me. So it's all good.
Michael?
Yeah, for research, I would just say, like, as a freshman, you don't get a ton of opportunities to do super detailed research. You're really learning like the introduction to your major. However, in the honors first year seminar, you do dedicated research about Spokane and a variety of social justice topics, and that really gets you prepared and gives you practice doing research at a college level. And so when sophomore year, junior year comes around, and ultimately senior year, you are no stranger to research. Honors has prepared you and given you practice doing kinds of research that may be really far outside your major. I do English and classics, and honors had me doing sociology research and like geography research, and it was so cool, and it taught me new ways of looking at information. For advising, Dr. T steps in when my other advisor is gone or can't figure something out. Really, honors is a tool to open you up and expand you to other parts of the university and its curricula that it offers. So when registration rolls around, Dr. T and Karen are so awesome about helping you find out and work out the little kinks in your schedule.
Miles?
Yeah, I should also clarify, like, you know, the opportunities for research and internships and all sorts of opportunities to just sort of improve yourself wherever you want to go after college. Those are also extensive outside of the honors program as well. Personally, I've found a lot of opportunities. I got an internship at the end of my freshman year, which was definitely up in the air for a while. And there have been just so many opportunities throughout my program. I don't want to go too in depth in the computer science opportunities just because those won't be of too much note to most of you. But just like, I think the main thing to remember is, yes, like honors is a fantastic resource, but it also can just be your basis to then go out and look at the university's general opportunities as well and really get involved and really start to build up those relationships with professors and find those opportunities for yourself.
It's a thing I think Gonzaga does incredibly well. We talk a lot about cura personalis, which means care for the whole person, but it means so much to everyone who works at Gonzaga that we're called to treat students not just as students or people we're supposed to assign a grade to, but as whole people, and we're invested in your education, but also your formation, what you care about, your passions. And so the opportunities for mentorship, both within the program and across the university, are pretty varied. I will say that all honor students, because they do that senior capstone experience, have a mentor in the faculty that help them sort of guide them through that capstone experience in whatever discipline it might be. And then we've also are working on expanding opportunities to have networking opportunities within the honors alumni network. So as an example, there's an honors senior this year who is looking to apply to law school, and we were able to connect him with two pretty successful lawyers within the space of 24 hours who are on our alumni network to help him really hone that writing sample. So we've got peer mentors, we've got faculty mentors, and we have some access to alumni mentors, and that is a process that we're working on expanding even more.
Excellent. Thank you for answering all those questions, everyone. We are down to 0 in the Q&A.
Perfect. Thank you so much for moderating that, Carrie. Last thing, I just want to first off just thank all of you for coming tonight, whether you attended to learn or whether you came to talk and share about your experience. The last thing I'll just say about Gonzaga Honors, as a former student myself, I found that being surrounded by intellectually curious, passionate students, at the end of the day, it's Gonzaga turned up to 11. You're getting the most out of your experience. You're really able to be surrounded by students who are going to push you to be your best. They're going to be really fascinating people, and in many cases, they'll be your best friends for life. And that's not a bad thing either. I'm going to wrap up just posting in here the link to apply one more time. Deadline to apply to Gonzaga is December 1st. Honors is January 1st, and we will send out our admission decisions for honors shortly after Gonzaga's admission decisions come out. So Gonzaga admissions come out in mid to late February. Honors decisions trail that by usually a little under a week. So our aim is to have those out by the end of February, at the very latest, early March. So we're not going to keep you in suspense much longer than you have to be. With that, thank you all so very much for coming. I think this was super informative. We'll post this online. Tell your friends, share all these details with everybody you know. And go Zags. Thank you all for having a great night.
Thank you all. And thank you, students, so much. I really appreciate it. It's good to see you, Logan.